Hey horror fans, it's Fran here. I've been in hiding for a while, but Resident Evil 4 just rocks so much that I insisted that I get on board for the review and the video review. Let me start off by saying it's impossible to detail everything that's good about this game. There's just too much to spoil and too many subtleties to list, so I'll try to keep this concise. Resident Evil 4 was awesome when it launched on the GameCube earlier this year, but to my surprise, it's quite awesome on the PlayStation 2. Capcom managed to bring over a mostly unscathed port and add in the big bonus of the Separate Ways mission. But let's talk about what makes RE4 a must-play in general. And please note the stress in that point. If you haven't played it yet, you are missing out. The core gameplay took nearly half a decade to concept and execute, but it has more than paid off. Resident Evil 4 blows away previous games in the franchise with a completely real-time environment and an all-new theme, making it wholly impressive. You know the concept by now. Go and save the president's daughter, crazy villagers get in the way. Well, this isn't even half of it. The game stretches on and on. For starters though, let's talk about the core gameplay mechanics. The new precision aiming is addictive and responsible for separating Resident Evil 4 from other action games or shooters out there. It makes the gameplay incredibly varied. You can shoot an enemy to his knees, you can knock weapons out of their hands, even out of midair. You can blow their heads off, whatever you want to do. It's awesome, and the only real downside is that enemies don't react to shots when getting up. And this gameplay is the kind of thing that you end up wishing was in other first-person shooters or third-person shooters that you go back and play. So that's an impressive start, and the interactivity of the environment takes it even further. You can lure enemies to a door, push a dresser in front of it to block them, and then shoot through the door to buy yourself more time. Wait too long, and they'll bust through. You can be up on the second floor somewhere, you can knock down a ladder. You have a lot of options, and the list just goes on and on, just like the gameplay. You'll board a motorboat for the lake monster boss fight. You'll fight El Gigante and watch him smash through the rooftops as you try to hide from him. The first time that I experienced that, I was shocked that Capcom took the time to add that kind of level of detail in. I thought I was going to go in these little sheds and hide and the AI would get stuck in some routine, but it didn't. He smashed through the rooftops, and it's just a really amazing experience, and there's all kinds of these little things in Resident Evil 4. And this is the point. Those who play for even a few hours will not understand how much depth there is here. There are so many levels and so many environments to interact with. I've talked to people about the game. They'll be like, yeah, I pretty much like it. I've tried the first level. It's kind of cool, but then they stop playing, but they don't realize that there's so much more beyond that creepy village. There's the abandoned farms on stormy nights. There's factories. You'll be in freezers, canyons, industrial areas, you name it. And Capcom does an absolutely wonderful job of keeping you hooked by doing that, because you always have this urge to face more enemies in new and prettier environments. Along the way, you'll also be earning money to buy weapons and upgrade them. There are numerous pistols, the range of sniper options is great too, and plenty satisfying thanks to the visuals. Also, everyone's favorite, a heavy-duty magnum. Great for boosting your ego, blasting people's heads off, or just drooling over the awesome reload animations. Then there's even the talked about exclusive high-tech Plagas laser to the PS2, but it really doesn't quite fit in my opinion, and in the end it's really just more of a bonus to play around with than it is a solid addition to the gameplay. It's so easy to drone on and on about all this, but the main idea I want you to take away here is that Resident Evil 4 is not the same old Resident Evil or survival horror game. It is not slow and filled with silly puzzles. The action here is enough to give you a heart attack. You will constantly find yourself among the hordes. Like in this scene where you get trapped in this farmhouse as dozens and dozens of the Illuminados pile into every opening that's around you. It's this kind of high-tension gameplay that is just rarely found. Meanwhile, the slow parts are so atmospheric that you always feel sort of on edge and just really well immersed. Just walking around at night in the rain will creep you out. And then you've got these chilling voices and sound effects that echo around you. It's really well done. It's all about the mood, and I absolutely love it. Now, Resident Evil 4 is not without its problems, but all of them that exist are really minor. A few, like lesser textures and lighting, are just a result of the fact that it is a port from the GameCube version. More noticeable are the load times which have been inserted, but they aren't so long that they will try your patience. Other minor flaws are just old-school designer choices. One that I still do not get is why is weapon switching so tedious? You have to pause the game, maneuver around your attaché case, equip your weapon, return to the game, and then if you want to change back to another weapon, you got to do the same thing over again. It's just really silly, and on the PlayStation 2, they could have easily used the L2 and R2 triggers for cycling between stuff. Overall though, there's so much to love that it outweighs these negatives by far. Play the game, and if you get the PS2 version, you have to play to the end because you'll have that added benefit of the Separate Ways mission with Ada, and it's pretty impressive in the fact that it explains a big part of the story. It does go through most of the same environments, so it's a rehash to that point, but the presentation is really solid. You'll even see Leon in, the first level running around and hear him interacting with the villagers. And then beyond that, there is this exclusive battleship stage, which is new to the PS2, and it's gaping, it looks amazing, it doesn't load at all, it has tons of enemies, and you even hop on this destructive turret and just wreak havoc. It's really fun. So, wow, I'd love to just keep telling you everything that RE4 has to offer, but I'd spoil it for you. And all I can say is go on the PS2 or go back to the GameCube version and play this game. Whatever you do, you have to check it out. This is truly a next-generation game now.